Hello everybody, I'm Sarah and I'm a recorder player. Today's video is an introduction to medieval music for the recorder. This video was my most requested when I asked you all to comment with video ideas, so here we are, I'm delivering, and I love this music so much. It's just got this magical sound and you have to be really creative when you're playing it, and it just really appeals to me. By medieval music, I mean Western classical music in the period 500 to 1400. This is 900 years of music, so obviously I'm not going to fit everything into this video. I've chosen a few little highlights that can be useful and interesting to us as recorder players. So today we're going to go a little bit through history. I'm going to point out some different pieces that you can try. I'm going to talk a bit about instruments, resources, and how to play it. Medieval music was both sacred and secular, so that's religious and non-religious, and it was composed and improvised. A lot of stuff was lost to the sands of time, partly because it was often learnt by ear, so not written down. Also because it took quite a long time for music notation to be developed. The development of music notation was really motivated by the church. They wanted to have the same liturgical songs and texts all over Europe. Why? Because this meant that they could spread their power. Before this, music was taught by ear and not written down. So in the beginning, we're hearing a lot of monophonic music. This is music of one single melody line, such as Gregorian chant, which was named after Pope Gregory I. Later on, harmony developed with the practice of organum, which was a melody harmonized in fourths or fifths. Very important person to note is the composer Hildegard von Bingen, who is the first known female composer, and she has some really beautiful melodies, so that's a good person to look up and play on your recorder. And almost all of this music that is recorded and still survives today was vocal. There is almost no surviving instrumental music. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I was taught that from the whole 13th and 14th centuries, there are only 44 instrumental pieces surviving. 44. I happen to have those 44 pieces here in my medieval dance collection. This is published by Hawthorne's Music, and these dances all come from Italy, France, and a couple from England. They are all really great to play on the recorder. There is a collection of estampes, which were late 13th century French dances, such as estampes are quite short and simple pieces. They have a lot of repeating sections that repeat with a first time ending and a second time ending, and they're almost like folk dances. Then as we get into 14th century Italy, we see that the pieces become a bit more stretched out, more complex, even though there's still a lot of repetition within them. A really nice one is the famous Today Fontana. Guessing a bit with the accidentals there. Alright. I also love the slow Lamento di Tristano, and for that one I like to play it on my low whistle. You don't only have to use recorders. So these 44 dances, I think they can be found in a whole bunch of different editions. I'll put the link to the one I have down below, but they are an immediate place where you can start and you've got a whole bunch of pieces to play. But we don't only have to play instrumental music, there's so much vocal music that we can use as recorder players because the recorder fits the range of the human voice very well. For example, you have the Llibre Vermell de Montserrat, the Red Book of Montserrat from 1399. This was a whole collection of songs and texts, and they are all really beautiful to play. For example, O Virgo Splendens. Fun fact, this one may be on my upcoming debut album. So as a lot of these songs are just one line of melody, you can really get creative with arranging it yourself, putting your own harmonies, repeating it, adding accompaniment, whatever you like. So these pieces aren't finished artifacts like a 19th century symphony, it's something that you can really get creative with. As we get further into the 14th century, we have the Ars Nova, which was the new art, and the Ars Subtilio, which was the really kind of rhythmically complex stuff. And here we're seeing more composed pieces with different voices. Polyphony, that's the word I'm looking for. Polyphony, different voices interacting and weaving in and out of one another. As recorder players, you should really check out the works of Johannes Ciconia. I've played a few of them and I've put some of them on this channel, but a really nice trio piece to start off with is called O Rosa Bella. With my trio, I've also played a piece a lot called Una Pantera. Here, a little snippet. Misconception that medieval music is simple. It was not, and composers really had a sense of humour. For example, Guillaume Machaut composed a piece called Ma fin... I'm sorry, I hate pronouncing things in French. Ma fin est mon commencement. My end is my beginning, and it's basically, the piece is an entire mirror image of itself. It's the same backwards as it is forwards. So that's a whole bunch of stuff to get you started, all links in the description. How to find more music. Well, if you search the internet for medieval music for recorder, you do get quite a few collections that different editors have put together, but I can imagine you actually want to get a bit creative, do a bit of investigating, digging, find some music for yourself. The place to look is a codex. A codex is a medieval collection of documents, and they have a lot of music in them. Believe it or not, good old Wikipedia has a great page of just all the different codexes, or codices, I believe the word is. And so many of these are full of rich material. So what you do is you go to your codex of your choice and then search for it on IMSLP. And in that way you can find pretty much all of this music for free. Do you have medieval music you like to play? Please share it down below in the comments, in particular links to where you can buy these things. You know, share and share alike, we'll all help each other. Okay, that is a whole bunch of the music that we could play. How are we going to actually play it? What instruments shall we use? Now, medieval recorders are depicted all over the place in paintings and in sculptures, so they existed everywhere. They appear to be one-piece instruments that are more cylindrical in shape, and a lot of eminent recorder makers such as these people have reconstructed medieval recorders. I don't actually own a medieval recorder. I kind of make it up with the other recorders I have. So these are the 4 instruments I really like to use when I play medieval music. As you can see, they're all a bit more cylindrical in shape. I have my low whistle. This isn't a recorder because it's only got 6 holes, no thumb hole, but I think it sounds really, really beautiful, kind of airy tone. I have my Rafi tenor made by Li Virghi. Yeah, this is for Renaissance music, but again, I find the tone really nice. My Ganassi soprano, yes, this is also a century too late, but it has just such a big sound and it's really fun. And this could really be something for you. This is my Mollenhauer Dream Alto. Anyway, if you're looking for a recorder with a bit of a different sound than a Baroque one, this can really work because they're still relatively affordable. And in the medieval times, we also saw flutes and bagpipes and dulcimers and harps and early fiddles and early guitars and drums and hurdy-gurdies and all different kinds of instruments, so don't be afraid to mix it up. If you play something else, bring it into the mix, sing along, get some percussion and really make it your own piece. How should you interpret this music? The thing is, don't know exactly how it would have sounded. The first treatises featuring the recorder, so like a kind of book about it, weren't until much later, so it wasn't really recorded how it would sound. At best, we can use our conjecture. And when we're making performance of these pieces, often we're arranging the music ourselves. We're putting harmonies to it that we think would have fit. We're playing it in a way with ornaments that we think would have been appropriate. I think it's important to think of the function of a piece. For example, a dance, you wouldn't play like... It's got to have a bit of life to it. And I like to add some ornaments, for example, some little trills wherever your fingers are falling. And my favourite trick, which was taught to me by my medieval music teacher, Bill Lyons, I'll refer to this as the jumpy first finger. So you don't use your tongue to articulate, but whenever you move your fingers, you put your first finger up and down as well. To me, that sounds medieval. And the best way is to actually listen to people's interpretations of medieval music. For that, I've got a few recommendations for you. The first CD that you absolutely have to go and buy now, because it's amazing, is by the Emily Askew Band. The CD is called Alchemy, and it explores the kind of boundary between medieval and folk music, and it's so beautiful. Emily plays recorder as well as singing and playing the fiddle and a million other things, and it's just fantastic. You should also check out the English group, the Dufay Collective. These guys were big icons for me when I was first getting into medieval music. It's so much fun. It's arranging all of these medieval dances, and it's like... And a bit more in the kind of classical interpretations of medieval music is the ensemble Tetractis, which is led by Kees Boeke. I think they've released 4 CDs and they're all really beautiful, so I'll link those below as well. So those are my tips. Really listen to this music to kind of get that feeling in your ears. Follow my links below for some music and start trying it out and putting it together. And don't be afraid to be a bit creative and even a bit irreverent with it. It's music that is, you know, it's stood the test of time over these millions of centuries. So that was my introduction to medieval music. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, you can subscribe to my channel by clicking on my face down here in the corner. Check out the Team Recorder web shop where you can get your hands on Team Recorder merch and support the channel by doing so. And over here, I'm going to leave a link to my trio axolot performing the medieval piece Le Ré au Soleil by Johannes Ciconia. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye!